All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the State Court of Clayton County, 1 p.m. arraignment calendar. I'm going to call the calendar in a moment, but first things first. If you have anything but your first and last name on the screen, please change your designation on the screen. So I think everybody's been able to do that. So I have first and last name only. If you are not able to do that, then you can click on the three dots next to your name. So when you activate the screen next to where your picture would appear, there are three dots that would appear, and click on those three dots. They should be in a blue box. You'll get a pull down menu. You're going to go down to the bottom of the pull down menu and it'll say rename. Okay, you're looking for the rename function. If you have more than one device on, it is going to cause feedback. You need one device on in your
¿Qué pasó?
No dice que para que sepan la persona que está, ya sabe el nombre de la persona que tiene.
Okay.
Si va a poder, todo está bien, te ves en la cámara, eso es todo. Si no te ves, pues eso es lo paso que tienes que hacer.
No, you're good.
Do we have an interpreter present or available? I believe Mr. Figueroa is going to need an interpreter.
Let me find out, Judge. I'll get somebody.
Cualquier cosa te están escuchando.
All right, so we're going to get an interpreter for Mr. Figueroa.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so I see one person who is listed as Motorola, a gentleman in a gray sweatshirt. What's your name for me, sir? Let me know. Yes, sir. He's pointing to himself.
I am not the most tech-savvy individual.
That's okay, sir. I've been doing this a while, which is the only reason I know how to do it. What's your name for me?
Brandon Halcomb.
Okay. D-O-N?
It's Halcomb, first name Brandon.
Did I get it right?
Yes.
All right. So the person whose name is Zoom user, sir, what is your name for me? The gentleman with the gray shirt and glasses. Gray shirt and glasses. What's your name for me, sir? Hello, can you hear me?
Excuse me, ma'am. Is it possible you can turn your volume up because it's very low on my end?
He probably need to turn his up. I hear you fine, Judge.
Mine is maxed out. I have it maxed out all the way up.
Yeah, it's I have mine maxed, but let me check and make sure. Hello. Okay, it appears that I'm kind of at the top of the range.
Right. I mean, I can hear you, but it is very, 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 very low.
Okay, hold on. All right, I'll try and remember to speak louder. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the arraignment calendar. I'm Judge Tammy Long Hayworth. This is the State Court of Clayton County, courtroom 304. This may be the first time that your case has been before the court. And if that is the case, this is what will happen today. So everyone is entitled to have an attorney represent you. If you need an attorney, you can ask the court. We have attorneys who the court may be able to appoint to you. If you wish to hire an attorney or have hired an attorney, let me know that. Or if you wish to represent yourself and speak directly to the state regarding their recommendations for your case, you can do that also.
Can that be done today if you wanted to speak with the state for the recommendations?
All of that can be done today. The only thing that can't be done today is a trial. So if you are entering one of the three pleas that I would expect, you're entering a plea of not guilty, then that is a trial. Sir in the gray shirt, can you hear me? If so, wave your hand. Okay, so you can hear me. What I'm asking you to do is unmute your device. And so that means you're going to look down on your, there you go. Can you speak?
All right. Yes, ma'am. I got it.
All right. So now what's your name?
Ma'am?
What's your name?
Thomas Bennett.
Judge,
Thomas Bennett.
Judge, this is Tom Cook. He's my client.
All right, Mr. Cook, thank you. So if you are here and you wish to have an attorney, we've already spoken about that, just let us know what that is when we speak with you. If you have an attorney, you need to know that you are here, but your attorney will speak on your behalf. If you entered a plea of not guilty, that means you wish to have a trial. A trial will take place at a later date. You will have plenty of time to prepare for trial, but the state has the burden of proving the case against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You do not have to enter evidence or testimony. You do not have to do anything but appear for trial because you have a Fifth Amendment constitutional right against self-incrimination. And no one can force you to give information or testimony during trial, but you may wish to do that. I do caution you, though, that if you wish to go to trial without an attorney, the court cannot treat you any differently than they would someone who is knowledgeable of the rules of evidence and procedure. You will have a difficult time getting your information into the record of the court and responding to arguments and objections made by the state if you are not aware of those rules. And so the court cannot treat you differently than they would an attorney. So if you are attempting to represent yourself, there are some significant deficits that come with that. So please be mindful. If you want to go to trial, as I stated, the trial will take place at a later date. When you appear for trial, you do not have to give evidence or testimony. If you wish to provide evidence or testimony or give any arguments against what the state is saying, then you are able to do that, no problem. But that is your choice. You cannot be forced to do that. If you were convicted at trial, the maximum penalty could be up to 12 months in jail, a $5,000 fine, or both per offense. If you believe that the conviction was a mistake, then you could appeal your conviction within 30 days of the verdict of the court to an appellate court. The appellate court may make a different decision in your case. These are the rights that come with having a trial. If you wish to enter a plea of guilty or nolo, a guilty plea means you believe you're guilty of the underlying offense that you are charged with, but you may have issues with some of the facts that are presented by the state. We will hear you on that, but it will not affect your belief that you are guilty of the underlying offense. If you wish to enter a plea of nolo, nolo means nolo contendere. It is Latin for no contest. It means that you understand that the state has evidence that they can present at trial that might result in a guilty verdict for you. So you are not contesting that evidence, but you also do not wish to admit guilt in the case. A nolo plea has benefits for you. particularly if it is a traffic offense. It may help you avoid points on your license. It may also help you avoid a suspension of your license, but you have to be NOLO eligible. That means you have not used a NOLO plea within the last 5 years for the same or similar violation. If you have a NOLO available to you, we'll discuss that with you or you and your attorney at the time that we speak about your case. Additionally, if you have a commercial driver's license, we cannot tell you what will happen to your license if you enter a plea of guilty or NOLO, or if you are convicted at trial. But I do wish for you to be careful about what you do, because it is hard to undo a plea if you make it in error, and it could affect your ability to earn a living and to support yourself or your family. If you have a CDL, do the research to determine what would happen if you enter a plea of NOLO, guilty, or if you're convicted at trial. If you wish to do that, you may enter a plea of not guilty while you're preparing for trial. You can conduct that investigation, and once you have determined what happened, when you come back for your trial, if you wish to enter a plea at that time, that's fine with the court, but you will know whether you will still be able to conduct your livelihood. As for individuals who are under 21 drivers, it only takes 4 points to suspend your license. That is a hard suspension, meaning that you will not get a temporary permit for travel to school or work. So that will be 6 months without a driver's license. Please be mindful of that when you begin speaking about your case. All right. So these are all of the rights and cautions that I give to you. At this time, I'm going to call the calendar. If you are represented by an attorney, your attorney will speak on your behalf. If you are not represented by an attorney, then we'll talk to you about that when we call your case. Okay. The first name on the calendar is Dwight Deshaun Amadou. Dwight Deshaun Amadou.
He's present in the courtroom, Judge. I just need to go over the state's offer, and we'll have an announcement shortly.
All right, 1 second. All right. Next is Marquise Jushawn Beard. Marquise Jushawn Beard.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Mr. Beard, you're charged with aggressive driving. You do not have an attorney representing you. Do you wish to have an attorney representing you, or are you going to hire an attorney or represent yourself?
And Your Honor, if I may please interject on this regarding this case. This defendant also has a co-defendant, Mr. Neal, who is on the calendar as well. And at this time, the state is requesting if this case can be reset. We need to do further investigation on this case. And it appears that both defendants will most likely probably need conflict attorneys, given the facts of the case.
All right. So, Mr. Beard, you and your co-defendant, let's see. So let's go ahead and take care of that person now if we can. Is it Neal?
Yes, Your Honor, page 5, position 1, it looks like.
All right. So Martika Darshell Neal. Martika Darshell Neal. This would be a Lister and Holt case.
Well, if she's not present, the state will move for a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Okay. Last call for Martika Darshell Neal. All right. So, Mr. Beard, it appears that the state is wishing to prosecute you and Ms. Beard together, and there are some facts that may affect, have a bigger effect on your case because of what is going on with her case. With respect to that, sir, was it your intent to hire an attorney to represent yourself, or to ask for the court to appoint an attorney?
I was gonna get a state attorney.
All right, Lister Holton Dennis.
Is that gonna be conflict? Because I thought Ms. Hagler said that Neil was.
Oh, wait, is Neil already represented? Wait, I'm
It
sorry.
looks like Alexander Adelon.
Yeah, so, okay, so Lister Holton Dennis is gonna have to do a determination of who you are going to represent, because there could be a conflict with Neil, and not one with Beard. It is up to you all. I don't know who you've represented before or the status of either case.
So Judge, I don't know whether there's been any prior representation, but as to this case, I believe Ms. Neal, it indicates that that was the public defender. So yes, typically we would get appointed, but I don't believe we've been appointed at this point.
No, I believe this is the first time this case is coming up in state court. They may have been in Superior Court and then sent back down. So what I'm saying to you all is I don't want to appoint or make a decision about either case until you all have done a determination of whether there is a conflict for Neil or for Beard. Now, I don't know what it's going to take for that determination. I can put them both on another calendar.
Well, you could do that, Judge. I mean, I don't see what the issue would be, since we haven't been appointed to Ms. Neal, to go ahead and appoint us to Mr. Beard. Certainly, if we found out there was prior representation that created a conflict, we could withdraw. But I don't.
I think it was from the standpoint of what Ms. Hagler was saying. I think it was only that the case had a co-defendant who may be up for appointment. So because Mr. Beard is here, I'll appoint Lister Holton Dennis to assist him for Ms. Neal's case. I'll go ahead and appoint a conflict defender. Ms. Neal is currently going to be a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Do we conflict it, Judge? Will it be in bench warrant status?
Yeah. We may need to do that anyway.
Okay.
Because I don't know how long she won't have counsel, but it is possible that she just missed today. So if we can go ahead and get the process started, if she doesn't appear the next time, then we won't worry about it. But at least we'll get the process started so that if she appears the next time, or if somebody has some information about how to reach her, then that would be.
Well, if she's in bench warrant status, then if she get picked up, she'll
already have conflict counsel, because if she gets picked up and brought to the jail, it'll be Lister Holton Dennis automatically, unless she has conflict counsel.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. So Bennett, yes.
I was just gonna, if I could interject, Mr. Beard, could you please chat your contact information to Attorney on the chat, your phone number and email address, and we'll go ahead and get in contact.
All right, so that went out a little bit. So Mr. Beard, he's asking you to chat. You can use the chat function on Zoom and send your information to Taz, T-A-Z, Taylor, T-A-Y-L-O-R. So when you go to the chat function, the name in blue should be everyone. Click on that. It'll have a pull down menu. At the bottom of the pull down menu, you should see Taz Taylor, and send him your email address, a phone number, and mailing address.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir. Go ahead and mute your device so we can go ahead and call the rest of the calendar.
Your Honor, if I may, do we have a reset date for these two cases? For Beard and Neal?
Well, hold on Beard. Let's let Mr. Lynch tell us what he wishes to do today, and then I'll get some idea of a reset date.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Thomas Lee Bennett. Mr. Thomas Cook is the attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Judge, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
Good, Judge. First, let me inquire. We've had some previous contact with Mr. Tipton about this case. Do we stay with him or we stay with Ms. Hagler?
Yeah, well, Mr. Tipton is here, but I'm not sure who's what is most efficient. Mr. Tipton, Ms. Hagler?
Let me take a look, Your Honor. It may have been one of those situations where it was it looked like a DUI. It may have been a DUI court situation, in which case I will look and see what my notes say. But I was just filling in for Ms. Ponder today. So I think I could deal with that if Ms. Hagler is fine with that.
Yes, no objection. Attorney
Okay.
Hagler.
That's great, Judge. Judge, we have previously asked for discovery on August the 5th of last year. We're still looking for it. We filed a waiver of arraignment plea of not guilty last week. So I think we're headed toward a criminal motions calendar on April 16th, but we definitely need the discovery well before then.
Okay, so Mr. Tipton, if you can ensure that Mr. Cook gets the discovery as soon as possible so he can particularize his motions and be ready for the motions hearing on April 16th, I would really appreciate it.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Cook, you are and your client, Mr. Bennett, are free to go at this time.
Right.
Mr. Bennett, just please keep in touch with Mr. Cook and make sure he always knows how to reach you, okay?
Yes, ma'am, will do.
Thank you,
All
Judge.
right, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
What I
Take care,
hang up
Mr.
now?
Cook. Yes, sir, you're good. Talk to
All right.
Mr. Cook if you have any questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am, will do.
All right, thank you. All right, next is Marvin Lester Dupree. Marvin Lester Dupree.
The statement moved for a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
All right, Mr. Lynch, Mr. Taylor, Mr. Dupree.
Judge, I did try to make contact through all the information that we had. I do not believe I was not successful.
All right, bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Figueroa, Estasi Angel Figueroa.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, good afternoon.
All right, Mr. Figueroa is charged with distracted driving and has Brandy Porter as the attorney.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Brandy Porter on his behalf. We would ask for not guilty and for discovery to be turned over to give us an opportunity to determine the best route to resolve this issue.
Your Honor, if I could please have a breakout room with Attorney Porter. We should read this case out today.
Is it something other than holding your phone?
That's pretty much all that I see from the back. So we should break this out today, Your Honor.
Yeah,
Ms. Breakout.
Porter, if he has a phone device that keeps him from holding his phone, or if his car is Bluetooth enabled, this case will go away.
That's perfectly fine, Judge. I just had no idea what the actual facts of the case were, so I don't want to walk him into something not knowing, this is the first time that I've had an opportunity to review the case.
I feel you. Yeah, I'm gonna let you talk to Miss Hagler in a breakout room, and then we may be able to just work this out real quick, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
All right, so young man who's with Mr. Figueroa.
Right here, ma'am.
All right, is your son with you, or daughter? Who was helping you?
Oh, no, my wife.
I'm his wife.
Oh, okay. So, ma'am, if he has a hands-free device or something that keeps him from holding his phone while he's in his vehicle, if you could get that, you can present it to his attorney. You can show it to us, like a thing that holds your phone, or if the vehicle is Bluetooth enabled and the phone goes through the radio or the Bluetooth.
Yeah, I got my GPS. That was in my 18-wheeler.
Okay.
That was a GPS, and I tried to set it up.
Okay, hold on. All right, so yeah, if you have anything like that, just hold on, and then Ms. Porter is going to talk to Ms. Hagler, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, at the appropriate time, Ms. Porter, I'm going to put you in a breakout room, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And are you taking over cases for Ms. Hill?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, because there was another one where I sent the gentleman to try, I gave him like a second continuance, because I was trying to get in touch and we couldn't reach anybody from her office. But there's another case on my calendar that's kind of hanging out there. That was one that was assigned to Ms. Hill.
Okay, yes,
So,
Judge. I am assisting her with her cases with you guys.
okay.
In your
All right, thank you. All right,
Thank
so
you.
Brandon Scott Halcomb.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
Mr. Halcomb, you're before the court for theft by shoplifting. Did you wish to have an attorney represent you, or do you have one?
No, ma'am. I don't have an attorney at this moment. I actually can. Is it possible that I can ask the court a few questions before I proceed?
Sure.
The first thing I am asking the court, the original date of the infraction. The second thing I wanted to know from the court, since it falls up under a misdemeanor, is it within the statute of limitations, the 2-year statute of limitations, because this case happened in, I believe, 01. It's going on almost 4 years now. I've been waiting to go to court on it. Also, I wanted to know if that is not possible, what would the recommendation of the court be? And if I did decide to hire an attorney or go with a public defender, and I decided to change my plea from not guilty to a no-lo, how would that affect me?
Well, I can't tell you how it'll affect you because I don't know you. NOLO has some general benefits, but I don't know how that would affect you. Essentially, it is not a guilty plea. Theft by
Right.
shoplifting is considered a crime of moral turpitude. So a lot of times it would keep you from being considered for certain jobs. Background checks would pick it up if you were found guilty or if you admitted guilt. So a NOLO plea may have some effect on that, but I can't, and nobody else here can tell you
Okay.
what actual effect it would have on you. With respect to the facts of the case, the date of the incident, I'll leave that to Ms. Hagler. And also, yeah, once it's accused, as long as it's accused within the 2-year statute of limitations, then it can still be prosecuted.
It
Now,
has
I'm correct
been.
about that. I'm sure some.
It has
Yeah.
been. So there are no SOL issues. It has been.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying, ma'am.
It was
Okay,
accused
so the
of
statute of
oh.
limitations is for, yeah, it's for when it's accused for the prosecution to say that they're going to go ahead and prosecute the case. And by doing that, they do in state court, what's called an accusation. In superior court, it might be an indictment.
Right.
But once the case is accused, as long as it's within the 2-year statute of limitations, then the case can be prosecuted.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is it has to be accused within that 2-year time limit. And that's why I'm asking the date of the original infraction in order to get that.
All right, Ms. Hagler?
Yes, Your Honor. The date of the offense was October the 10th of 2021, and it was accused on February 22nd of 2022.
So that puts it beyond the 2-year limit of statute of limitations. Is that correct?
No,
that is not correct.
It was
okay,
the date of the incident was October 2021. It was
okay, and the date of
accused
the accusal was when?
February 2022. So it was a few months
Okay.
after the incident.
Okay, well, I would like to plead not guilty.
Oh, okay. All right. So now not guilty puts you at trial. If you wish to have a jury trial, that's fine. If you wish to have a bench trial, that's fine. Just let me know which.
I would rather do a bench trial, Judge. I'm a cancer patient right now, so I got quite a few things going on.
Okay.
I really don't want to become a warden of the state. So, but that would be one of the only ways that I would be able, in order to carry out any type of sentence. I was diagnosed with cancer on May 7th of last year, and I have been dealing with radiation treatments and quite a few things over this past year. I've also had a major surgery where I have had to have mass removed from the center of my chest and the entire right side of my sternum rebuilt using one of my floating ribs because of the cancer that's in my body. So like I say, that was the reason why I'm asking about the NOLO and how it would affect me, because right now, I mean, as far as the job, I am honestly unable to work. I'm waiting on my disability to kick in order to just to be able to pay my insurance. And at the time of the crime,
Mr. Holcomb, with all that being
during
said,
COVID, and I was unable to feed my family, so that was the reason. Anyway, but
Okay,
that's the
Mr.
direction I would like to go.
All right, so Mr. Holcomb, with all that being said, I'd be more comfortable if you had an attorney representing you. I don't mind appointing one, but none of that, what you said, is a legal defense. And so I would like for you to speak with an attorney so that they can advise you as to what a proper defense would be for your case.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so
Okay,
I'll appoint the law.
I would, like I said, I would like to have a court-appointed attorney. Is it possible? I know you guys will set that up anyway.
I was getting ready to do that right now. All right, so Mr. Lynch, I'm going to appoint Mr. Holcomb. And Mr. Lynch, what do you need from him so that you can speak with him today and determine which way you're going?
If Mr. Holcomb could chat to
I can barely hear you, Mr. Lynch.
All right, so Mr. Holcomb, do you know how to use the chat function?
Hold on. Okay, I'm in the chat function now.
All right, do you see something that says everyone in blue?
Yes.
Click
Open
on
it
that.
up. Okay.
Yes. And when that opens, go down the list until you see courtroom 304. Or do you want him to send it to Mr. Taylor?
If you could send it to
Mr.
Mr. Taylor,
Taylor.
I'll be the
Okay.
attorney, but
Yeah, go down until you see Taz, T-A-Z, Taylor.
All right,
All
I have
right,
him.
so in that block, we want your full name, your phone number, your mailing address, and your email address.
Okay.
Okay, so you can go, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you so I can continue calling the calendar. But what they're gonna do is once they get your information, they may call you or they may text you or they may email you, okay?
Okay.
All right, so that'll happen today during this session.
All right.
All right, thank you. All right, so next on the calendar is Ralph Hawk. Ralph Hawk.
Yes, Your Honor, the state is going to not process this case.
All right, case will be no pros. Thank you very much. Next on the calendar is Devyani Jackson. Devyani Jackson.
Judge, I believe I see him on the, I thought that I saw him on the call. Is that not accurate?
Devyani Jackson.
Is there Mr. Jackson in the courtroom?
I'm looking, I don't see. Miss
Maybe I misspoke.
Bermudez,
I may have misspoke.
you're here for, I guess, Mr. Figueroa. I'm gonna set a breakout room for his attorney to speak with the state in a moment. Then they may need you to, I guess, interpret, but they're gonna speak to each other right now, okay?
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
All right.
And Your Honor, the state will move for a bench warrant, bond forfeiture for Jackson.
Bench warrant bond forfeiture will be granted.
Thank you.
Next on the calendar is Trevon Deshane Kendrick. Trevon Deshane Kendrick. So,
Yes,
Mr. Kendrick,
Mhm.
you're represented by Lister Holton Dennis. Mr. Lynch.
Yes, Judge. I believe I did speak to Mr. Kendrick. I'm probably just going to ask the court for a breakout room to follow up with Mr. Kendrick about what we had discussed and share with him some additional information we received.
All right, no problem.
And Your Honor, we skipped Compado, Jonathan Compado. We skipped him.
Or did, sorry. Compado has a waiver, which was recently filed like yesterday. So that's a case for Mr. Florio. I know he filed a waiver on his other case. So when he gets in touch with you, I guess y'all can pre-trial those other cases. I mean, all of the cases. Next is Josh. Thank you. Joshua Lee Mitchell. Joshua Lee Mitchell.
Your Honor, state's going to move for a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Last call for Joshua Lee Mitchell. I'm not seeing Mr. Mitchell on the calendar. Bench warrant will be granted. Jerry Moore Jr.
Judge, that individual's in prison, and I tried to get him on. I tried to set up him being able to log on to this remotely. He's already in bench warrant status, but I wouldn't.
All right. So Mr. Moore will remain in bench warrant status just to give us an idea of where he is in case he should be released. Otherwise, if we're able to bring him here by video, then we will dispense with his case at that time. Adrian Delafleur Nash. David Jones is the attorney. I don't see a waiver.
Your Honor, I just
Nash.
Your Honor, I checked a moment ago. I didn't see a waiver or a waiver of arraignment in the system. State's going to move for a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Okay, last call for Adrian Delafleur Nash. Bench warrant will be bench warrant bond forfeiture will be granted. Next is Martika Neal, Martika Darshell Neal.
Your Honor, that's from earlier. Your Honor already issued a bench warrant bond forfeiture for Ms. Neal.
Yeah, I was just confirming because they come in late. Bench warrant bond forfeiture will be issued for Martika Neal. Also, Ms. Neal will have conflict counsel so that if she's picked up on the bench warrant, we already know the co-defendant has Mr. Houghton Dennis, so she'll be assigned conflict counsel. Darius Cornelius Reese. Darius Cornelius Reese.
This
All
is
right.
Mr. Reese, and we are entering a not guilty plea today.
Mr. Reese, let me caution you. You have bond conditions. If you're not aware of what they are, I would advise you before you leave the building to go downstairs to the first floor, state court clerk's office, and get a copy of your bond conditions. Your bond conditions have that you are not to have contact with a particular person, that you it may have that you're not to go back to a particular location. Please be mindful that if you were to violate the bond conditions, you could have your bond revoked. You could remain in jail until your case is resolved. You could also be charged with additional misdemeanors or felonies, including the felony of aggravated stalking, punishable by up to 10 years in prison, a $10,000 fine, or both. Do you understand?
Oh.
All right, sir. So keep in touch with your attorney. Make sure they can always reach you. You're free to go at this time.
All right, thank you, Judge. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, Mr. Reese. Scott, Devontae Naeem Scott. Devontae Naeem Scott. Mr. Holt Dennis.
Yes, Judge, the number we had for him was not in service. Did try to reach out. Is there any means we had?
State requests a bench warrant bond forfeiture, Your Honor.
Bench warrant bond forfeiture will be granted. Next is Derek Leon Smith Jr. Mr. Smith is on by video.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mr. Smith. Hold on a second. Mr. Holden Dennis.
Judge, I think we'll do a breakout room with Mr. Smith if we can.
All right, no problem. Mr. Smith, hold on. In a moment, I'll put you in a breakout room so you can speak with your attorney, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, it appears that Mr. Smith is last on the calendar. So Amadou is going to be a breakout. So is Mr. Amadou in court? Is that correct?
Mr. Amadou's in the courtroom, Judge.
Okay.
I'll speak with him.
And then let me know when you're ready for the breakout room with any of the other attorneys. For Figueroa, I'll put Miss Hagler and Miss Porter in a breakout room number 1.
Thank you, Judge.
And Judge, if I could just request that the state send us the information for Mr. I believe it was Mr. Halcomb who requested.
Yeah. So Mr. Halcomb has been recently appointed. If you all would send over whatever y'all have that they would need. Thank you. So Ms. Porter and Ms. Hagler, breakout room number 1.
And
all right. Ms. Bermudez, if you could interpret for me. Mr. Figueroa.
Yes, ma'am.
Your attorney will be speaking with the state's attorney.
Señor Figueroa, su abogado va a hablar con el abogado del estado.
Once they have an announcement for the court.
Y tan pronto ellos tengan la información para dársela a la jueza.
We will proceed from that point, okay?
De ahí en adelante vamos a proceder.
I'm going to mute your device just so I don't hear background noise.
Yo le voy a apagar el micrófono para así yo no tener que escuchar todo el ruido.
but I'm going to, but when I call your name, you can just unmute and we will be able to hear you.
Pero cuando yo llame su nombre, enciende el micrófono y nosotros lo vamos a poder escuchar. Your Honor, Ms. Porter asked the interpreter to communicate something to Mr. Figueroa. Will that be okay if
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Are you sending it by chat?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Are you sending it by chat? Are you?
Can we be put in a breakout room?
Sure.
Thank you.
Did you need to be put in a breakout room with Miss Porter, the one she's in, or just with Mr. Figueroa?
Just with Mr. Figueroa. She wanted me to ask him something.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to put you in breakout room number 2. Mr. Figueroa, can you explain to him that the invitation will appear on his screen?
Señor Figueroa, váyase a la invitación para que pueda reunirse conmigo en la sala.
All right. So
where can I find out, Mrs.?
It's going to come right now. Let me just get a second to find you on the calendar. Here we go. See it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, join now. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Ms. Bermudez, I'm doing yours now.
Yes,
Thank you.
Judge, will you drop me in there as well, please?
Yes, Ms. Porter. 1 second.
Thank you.
Let me pull you out of the other one. There you go. There you go. All right. So Mr. Figueroa is speaking with his attorney. So Amadou is going to be a breakout room with his attorney, Beard. Mr. Beard, in a moment, we'll have you speak with Mr. Lynch or Mr. Taylor. Bennett is a waiver. Dupree is bench warrant bond forfeiture. Figueroa is speaking with the attorney. Halcombe is a not guilty plea. Hawk is a no pros. Jackson, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Kendrick is going to be a conversation with the attorney. Kimpadu is a waiver. Mitchell, bench warrant. Moore, bench warrant. Nash, bench warrant bond forfeiture, but also conflict counsel. I'm sorry, no, Nash is bench warrant bond forfeiture. Neal is bench warrant bond forfeiture, but conflict counsel will be appointed.
And Your Honor, Moore should be, oh, you said it's bench warrant for Moore. Is that correct, Your Honor?
Yes,
Okay,
I
thank
do.
you.
And then Reese is a not guilty. Scott, bench warrant bond forfeiture, and Smith be a breakout room. So once Mr. Lynch tells me who he wants after Amadou, then we'll go ahead. So ladies and gentlemen, just mute your device so that we do not hear any feedback or background noise that could keep the court from going forward with the cases that we've already, that we're talking about, okay? And we'll be back in a moment.
Your Honor, Deputy Woodson.
Yes, Deputy Woodson?
I bet Bank Scott just came in the court, said you had a court at 1 p.m. today.
All right, this is Mr. You said Brandon Scott?
Banks Scott, last name Banks Scott, hyphen last name.
Banks Scott, let me see. What calendar was he on? I have a Devontae Naeem Scott.
That's him.
Oh, okay. Come on up. All right, so you're before the court, but you have attorney Lister Holton Dennis, Mr. Scott. So as soon as they have the opportunity, they're going to speak with you. and tell us something about your case. So just have a seat and let the gentleman, the two gentlemen who are moving around the courtroom, let them know that you're here, okay?
No.
All right, have a seat.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thanks, Deputy.
Hombre.
Ok, pero ahí. Y el que oiga la que le está traduciendo, no tiene que hacer.
Señor Figueroa, apague su micrófono.
Ok.
Por favor, gracias.
Your Honor, I do have an announcement as to Mr. Amadou and maybe something I want to put on the record about with the state, if somebody on this with the state can. She's gonna just step up to me out of the way after I get the court's attention. Is that how that's gonna work?
That's how that's gonna work. We're like Law and Hardy, man.
You get very close too. I love it.
Ms. Hagler, I spoke with Mr. Beard, and we will consent or agree to that reset on the aggressive driving case that he has a co-defendant on.
Okay.
What date were you looking at?
I mean, I guess whatever the court deems appropriate, because we didn't investigate further as well on our end. So, I'm sorry, Ms. Terrell.
How long do you need? You want to do 30 days?
Yes, please. I was gonna say yes. 30 days should be more than sufficient for us to continue our investigation. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
We'll reset for 30 days.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Terrell. Can Mr. Beard be excused?
Yeah. I think
Thank you.
30 days will be the reset. He needs to stay in contact with his attorney, make sure he understands that, Mr. Taylor, and I'll let Judge know we 30-day reset.
I did receive his contact information and spoke with him. Mr. Beard, you're free to leave, and I will follow up with you in a couple of days, okay? You have a good day.
And Ms. Terrell, would that be April the 6th for the 30-day date, or?
Yes, ma'am, unless you need further out.
No, the 6th is more than sufficient. Thank you, ma'am.
It'll be April 6th at 1.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Ms. Terrell?
You need Judge?
Well, if you can set up a breakout room for me.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Miss Val, that April 6th is a Sunday.
Oh.
And that's the spring break week. We don't have court.
Okay.
Right, April 3rd, it won't be quite 3rd. If you want April 3rd, Ms. Hagler, we could do April 3rd.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
April 3rd at 1. Judge?
Yes.
Mr. Beard is going to do the 30-day reset, so it'll be April 3rd at 1 p.m.
Okay.
Mr. Taylor, I went on and excused him and told him to stay in contact with Mr. Taylor.
Okay.
And then Mr. Lynch has some more announcements for you.
All right, Mr. Lynch, go ahead.
So first, with Mr. Amadou, he does want to enter not guilty plea, but he does have a concern, which is that his case does have a stay away or no contact with the alleged victim. He doesn't have an issue with that. However, he does have, recently was awarded joint custody of his children. And the way that that is supposed to be addressed through the court order of the Superior Court is, I believe they exchanged the children at the police station, and there's some sort of a messaging app that they use to communicate, that they're supposed to use to communicate about dropping off the children. So,
Okay.
you know,
I just need to say it, but this is the court's stance on that. The Superior Court has general jurisdiction. They trump me. So if they have designated a particular means by which these individuals will communicate, and in this case, based on what you're saying, it does not violate the order because there is an arm's length transaction with respect to, or some supervision with respect to the exchange of the children. That is not a violation.
Okay.
So as long as there's no nothing that would violate the contact provisions that I have, except with the exception that the court has provided for a means of contact for the exchange of the children, that's fine.
Okay. Thank
so,
you, Judge.
Mr. Amadou, that's fine. Just make sure that things are done by the letter of the Superior Court's order so that there aren't any issues.
Thank you, Judge.
welcome.
And then if I could request that I be placed in a breakout room with Mr. Derek Smith.
All right, Mr. Smith, hold on. I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mr. Lynch.
And Attorney Lynch, did you say not guilty for Amadou?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
All right, so Mr. Smith is going to be in breakout room number 3 with the courtroom. So breakout room number 3.
And Your Honor, when you're ready, I have an announcement whenever you're ready.
Okay, Derek Smith. 3. All right. Yes, Ms. Hagler.
Yes. Regarding page 2, position 2, Mr. Figueroa. The state is going to non-prosecute that case.
All right. So, Mr. Figueroa.
Señor Figueroa.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your case will be no pros, meaning that the state is not going to prosecute the case.
Su caso va a ser desestimado, lo que significa es que el Estado no va a proceder con el cargo.
So if you have any questions, please contact your attorney, Ms. Porter.
O sea, que si usted tiene alguna pregunta, por favor, póngase en contacto con su abogada, la señorita Porter.
And please be safe on the road, sir.
Thank you so much, Your Honor, and have a blessed day.
All right, you too, sir. You're free to go. Be safe.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, that's all that I have today. May I be excused as well?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Porter, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Judge,
All right.
may I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Gracias.
Thank you. A su orden, señor.
All right. So the remaining cases are Kendrick, Smith, and Scott. Then Mr. Lynch and Mr. Taylor are working their way down the list. So as soon as they have the opportunity to speak with those 3 individuals and to give a report, then the court will follow. Thank you.
Your Honor, I do have an announcement for Mr. Smith. Yeah, you're free. This is Mr. Scott. I know. Gosh, you did the, oh, the court does. You got I think I just have one more person on here, and then I'll talk to Mr. Scott, and then we should be done, huh? Okay. Mr. Smith, check your chat, okay? And I'm gonna ask you to chat me, answer my question through chat, okay?
Okay.
Your Honor, I have an announcement and a request for a breakout room.
All right, my apologies. Kid pickup time changed, so I had to adjust. All right, so announcements.
Judge, for Mr. Derek Smith, not junior, he would like to plead not guilty today.
All right, so Mr. Smith, you know what got you here, sir. Please make sure that you don't have anything like that while you're waiting for your case to be resolved. And please keep in touch with your attorneys, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, take care and be safe, sir.
All righty. So do I just
All right.
exit the court?
Yeah, you can. Just
Okay.
keep in touch with Mr. Lynch. Make sure he always knows how to reach you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All
And
right, and for Scott or
for
Kendrick,
Mr. Scott, we are also going to enter a not guilty plea today.
All right, is Mr. Scott, you said?
For Mr. Scott, yes.
Okay,
And
so
then,
Mr. Scott, please make sure that you pay attention to your bond conditions. If you don't have a copy of them or you're not aware of them, go downstairs to the first floor and get a copy before you leave the building. That is in the state court clerk's office. If you were to violate your bond conditions by having contact with the person who's listed on the bond conditions, or by going to a particular location, if that is prohibited, then you could have your bond revoked. You could be arrested and spend time in jail until your case is resolved. And you could also be charged with additional misdemeanors or felonies, particularly the felony of aggravated stalking, which is punishable by up to 10 years in prison, a $10,000 fine, or both. Do you understand, sir? So just keep in touch with your attorneys and you're free to go at this time. All right. And for Kendrick, did you need a breakout room?
yes, Judge.
All right. So, Mr. Kendrick, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mr. Lynch. You'll see the invitation pop up on your screen in a moment, okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm going to put you in breakout room number 3.
Thank you.
All right.
And Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Tipton?
hey, so I was covering Deputy Chief Ponder. She just came in and gathered the files, so that's going to conclude my business in your court today. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, always great to be here, Judge. Always fun.
All right. Take care, sir. Thank you. All right, so I'll be signing as soon as we finish with the as I don't want to try and go back and forth between calendars and all the back and forth. So I'll start signing as soon as we log off, and I'll just whatever y'all need to send, go ahead and send it, and I'll be signing this afternoon.
I do have an announcement for Mr. Kendrick.
Mr. Lynch, go ahead.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Kendrick does want to do a negotiated plea today based on me and Ms. Ponder just spoke, and he got a new offer and he wants to accept that.
All right, Mr. Kendrick, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. So you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Trayvon Deshane Kendrick, 2022 CR 0500580. Wrong side of the road, count 1, improper lane change, count 2, obstruction of an officer, count 3. Mr. Lynch, what does your client plead to the offenses before the court?
Judge, he pleads no contest to counts 2 and 3. I believe count 1 would be null pros pursuant to the agreement.
Okay. All right. By entering a plea of nolo to counts 2 and 3, count 1 will be null pros. You give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, Mr. Kendrick?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Factual basis of recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about September 29th of 2021, Officer Demetrius Christian observed the defendant traveling southbound Ontario Boulevard. The defendant was driving in the number 1 lane when he failed to maintain lanes. The defendant crossed the solid white lines as he was looking in his mirror to focus on the officer instead of paying attention to the road ahead of him. At that time, the officer conducted a traffic stop and the defendant drove southbound in the left turning lane before coming into a complete stop. Your Honor, the defendant was asked multiple times to step behind the car. When he exited the car and began to walk back to the driver's side seat, when officers asked him to stand behind the vehicle, at that point, the defendant was arrested and charged accordingly based on his refusing to obey verbal commands for the officers. Those are the case for count 1. It's actually a non-cross count 1, count 2, a fine of $100.
I'm sorry, can you, I'm having trouble hearing you. You said count 2, a fine of
$100.
Okay, all right.
And then count 3, a fine of $300 to be suspended.
All right. All right, Mr. Lynch, anything on behalf of Mr. Kendrick?
No, Judge. Just if you would accept the recommendation from the state.
All right, you have his email address?
I don't know if I have it on hand.
Okay, Mr. Kendrick, I need your email address, sir.
You want me to say it or you want me to put it in the chat?
You can put it in the chat. When you put it in the chat, send it to Amanda Wright, R-Y-T-E.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Kendrick, I'm going to accept your plea of nolo to counts 2 and 3. Count 1 will be no pros. I'll send you on count 1 to pay a fine in the amount of $100. It'll be $151.50 with the surcharges. I'll give you 30 days to pay. Did you need more than that?
No, that's fine.
All right. Count 3 will be suspended. I'm sorry, count 3, $300 fine will be suspended. And counts 2 and 3 will run concurrent. So, Mr. Kendrick, I just say to you, on the side of the road is not the time to litigate your case. So if the officers are asking you to do something, trying to explain to them or letting them know what's going on, they're not going to, just go ahead, get your ticket and come on, okay?
Yeah, I understand that now.
All right. Thank you, sir. Safety first. All right. So I believe that concludes the calendar. I don't know what is going on. Amadou is a not guilty. Beard was continued to April 3rd. Bennett was a waiver. Dupree, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Figueroa, null pros. Holcomb, not guilty. And Mr. Holton Dennis appointment. Hawk, null pros. Jackson. What do we do with Jackson? I'm sorry.
Bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Okay, thank you. Oh, yep, there it is. Kendrick, plea. Kimpadu is a waiver. Mitchell, bench warrant. Moore, bench warrant. Nash, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Neal, conflict counsel was appointed and a bench warrant bond forfeiture. Reese, not guilty. Scott, not guilty. And Smith, not guilty. All right, thank you all. And I'll be signing things you sent me. Take
Judge,
care.
have a good day.
All right, you too.
Thank you.